It is the 41st. Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Good evening. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? It's good. I was going to work on hobby for a bit tonight. I've got those heavy intercessors, but I'm having real issues with my eyes. So I'm going to make a start, because I've been waiting to start for like 20 minutes. If my eyes don't clear up, then I guess we'll either just chat or I'll cut the stream short. So, good evening, good evening. Hope everyone's doing well though. I got a model in the post today. So it was a cryptic thumbnail. So this isn't a Games Workshop model, but it is for 40k. So that's where I'm starting. Or that's what I wanted to work on tonight. And this guy was £6. £6. So it's always nice to get something for cheap. And this certainly was cheap. Hey Jim. Hey Zacharias, how are you guys? All the packaging for a tiny little model. Amazon do that as well, right? They send you a mouse mat, but they send you it in a package that's big enough to take a computer monitor. But I assumed that I was going to have to do some assembly. I don't know if I'm going to have to do some assembly. We'll find out. Oh, wow. There's going to be no assembly. It's just going to need to be put on a base. There we go. I guess there's a couple of tiny little bit mold line type things. What size base does a Calidus Assassin come on? Eternal Crusader managed to snag a box. A box of what, dude? Oh, the Dark Angels box. Was that today? I thought that was pre-order today, or was that actually buy it in the store today, was it? I was going to say, it's Eternal Crusader, you better watch out or you'll have every Space Marine faction under the sun pretty soon. I'm gonna have to find out what list Miles is playing on Wednesday night, so I'm reasonably prepared for that. I think I'm gonna try and run the Redeemer again. I kind of Speargrass has taken his Redeemers out of the box after 7 years. Good for you, man. Let me know how you get on running them. I've got 15 jump intercessors for Christmas. Would it be better to run 3 squads of 5 or 1 block of 10 and another 5? It depends on how... I think if you're adding characters, you probably want the big squad. If you're not adding characters, probably smaller squads are good, right? Wapedia. Calidus Assassin. She needs to be on... what size base? 32mm base. I'm sure I have a 32mm. Need to just grab a 32mm base real quick. I don't know why I thought it came with one. It was probably stupid of me to assume that it would come with a base. Okay, definitely have a 32, but have I got one without a stupid hole punched in it? Is going to be possibly the question. Probably not in the Indomitus box. They'll all have holes punched in them. In the Augustus box, will they all have holes punched in them? That doesn't have a hole, but I think that's a 40. Don't know what that would be. It doesn't have a hole punched in it. No, the 32s have holes punched in them. I'd rather just get one that doesn't have a hole punched in it. I've never been a fan of these. No shit. That was. I've never been a fan of them punching the holes in the bases. I don't really see the point in it. Just annoying. And you have a model that you don't necessarily want to have a hole punched out of it. Alright. Oh, these bases are 32s, but they got bloody slits in them. I've got bases with slits in them. I guess they're easy to build bases. Oh. All these boxes, and you can't just get a normal 32-inch base. Good evening, Foz. Hello. Good evening, Sean. How are you doing? Emus for Mug says, just getting back into the tabletop, so I need any advice that you can get. I can give you whatever advice I know I can share. What do you need? You got a question? My god, you're gonna go through like 6 boxes of Warhammer stuff. There we go. There's a 32mm base without something punched in it. Perfect. It was way more difficult than it needed to be. Should probably just consolidate all this crap into boxes, I suppose. I like having all these things. At some point I do need them. There we go. Well, this guy's going to be easier to build than I thought he was going to be. Literally going to be one bit of glue in his feet. Howdy, James. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think jump intercessors, I only run them in a 10-man squad, I think, if I'm attaching like a captain or a sanguinary priest. I don't see any advantage to running them in a 10-man squad if you aren't attaching characters to them. I feel kind of the same with the Death Company. If you're gonna run a 10-man Death Company, hey, thank you so much for subscribing, Kosiku. I appreciate it. If you're gonna run a 10-man Death Company, I would attach like Lamartis to them, but I wouldn't attach Lamartis to like a 5-man Death Company. I might attach a cheaper chaplain to the 5-man Death Company, but yeah, I think that's just the way it. Oh right, she's like super far forward. I put the glue on the wrong part there. Oops. Oh well, as long as I don't get super glue in my hands. I bloody hate getting super glue in my hands. It's the worst, isn't it? So this is what you would call a low-profile Calidus assassin. Like, she is down on her knees. Super small. She'll probably be more difficult to paint than the regular Calidus assassin because of that. But I mean, she does look pretty cool. These 3D prints, they really come to life when you spray them. They probably don't look that good right now, just the 3D print. Right, before I show you that, let me leave that to dry. Let's look at some heavy intercessors. Yeah, it was £6 on eBay. It was a 3D print. I don't have an official Calidus assassin, so I just went for an eBay one, £6. But yeah, it was called the Imperial Assassin. I think I just googled, I think I put Calidus Assassin on eBay and it came up for £6. I was like, yeah, whatever.
I have awoken.
Joshua, thank you so much for subscribing. We'll get a few new members tonight. Nice. Always getting new members in January. People are always jumping into the hobby in January, it seems like. So welcome. Hello. The goal this year, hopefully, is going to be to get 15,000 subscribers. That's what I want to get to. We'll try. I think it might be doable. I don't know. Whew. Alright. I'm going to look at these heavy intercessors. I think I'm at the point with these guys I'm going to start doing like an Agrax recess wash. I mean, I have to do an Agrax recess wash at some point. After I've done my Agrax recess wash, I'm going to have to tidy everything up anyway. So I feel like I may as well just fire into it just now. Get going on the Agrax recess wash. Because that'll be messy and I'll make a lot of mistakes. And then I can tidy it up and there's almost no point just not diving into it now. A lot of people will keep asking about these guys as well. They're like, John, do you recess wash your models? And I was like, I do. It's been taking me forever to get these heavy intercessors going. So I feel like as well, you don't have to be too neat with this because probably the wash will run somewhere you don't want it to run and then you'll have to tidy it up anyway, so. You know, right as I'm starting to finish my heavy intercessors, I was actually thinking about it this week. I was like, man, should I be running infiltrators on my list? Because I keep getting deep striked into my backfield by nurglings. Just like action monkey nurglings, and they keep costing me points in games, and I keep losing the games by just a few points. So I was like, man, should I be getting rid of my heavy intercessors or adding infiltrators? So maybe I'll keep the heavy intercessors. But yeah, a big part of me is definitely feeling like maybe I need to go back to running infiltrators, just because infiltrators are very good at denying your opponent points, right? If your opponent isn't scoring points, they aren't winning the game, so I swore by infiltrators last edition. Don't know if I felt like you needed them as much this edition, but I think I've maybe been stubborn. I am quite stubborn. I am quite old, and being old makes you stubborn, I feel like. I almost ordered some heavy intercessors today, but instead went with Inceptors to go with the new Crusade book. If you don't have any heavy intercessors, I'd get a squad. I've got 2 squads now. One squad is obviously, I'd say these guys are almost like 50% painted now. Maybe a bit more than 50% actually. But yeah, I got 2 squads, and I started building my second squad, so I do really like them. in terms of like OC2 troop units. I think they're very good. I mean, they're the most durable OC2 troop units that we have, and they're not expensive for what they are. I just think maybe I still need to run some other troops as well, because I think they're the only battle line I have. I'm calling it troops. I mean battle line. I guess they're called battle line now, right, and not troops anymore. So yeah, if you don't have any heavy intercessors, Foz, I think you should pick them up. Or like, pick up Strike Force Augustus if you can get your hands on it, because then you get the Ballistus Dreadnought. And I know not many people are running the Ballistus Dreadnought, but maybe at some point in the future the Ballistus Dreadnought will be really good. I mean, right now it's... Are Eliminators able to ignore Lookout Sir? Yeah, I'm sure they've got precision. Don't they have precision? I don't run it. I haven't been running Eliminators. Maybe they only have precision on their sniper rifles. Maybe that's what it is. So the Las gun version, or the what's it called? A Las Talon. They probably can't ignore Lookout Sir, but I imagine that the sniper rifles have precision on them, right? Five infiltrators could help. Yeah, they probably will help. So I've got a choice. I can keep the Land Raider Redeemer and try and figure it out, or if I drop the Redeemer for a regular Land Raider, then I'd have enough points left over to like swap out one of my units of jump intercessors for a unit of infiltrators. I think I have to try it. Like, I think you know, like last edition, the amount of games I won and the amount of times that it really shut my opponents down using the infiltrators. So, I mean, I think, like I said, I'm old and I'm stubborn. I'm really stubborn. I know I'm stubborn. I do want to try the new detachment as well, but I also really want to just try and win a GT using the damn Gladius detachment, because I think it's doable. I think Gladius is really strong. Like, I really think Gladius is a great detachment. I just don't know if I've been playing it as well as I could be, or... But I think, in the moment, the thing that I thought was the coolest, or the thing that I wanted to try the most, was I thought Firestorm. I thought Firestorm with Ball Predators and Land Raider Redeemers could actually be kind of crazy. It might not be the most competitive in the world, but it would be hella fun, I think. Like, it would just be flaming death everywhere, all across the board. Good evening, Aradine. How are you? Yeah, sorry, it's a Brutalis Dreadnought in the Augustus box. Infiltrators are great, especially when fully equipped. What's fully equipped mean now? They have a 12-inch denial, and they have a 6-up feel no pain, is it? Is that the Infiltrator's rule? Eliminators have precision on the bolt, sniper, and the carbine. Yes, sorry, I should have probably mentioned the carbine. The carbine's a weird one, because if you add the carbine to the squad, it gives the Eliminators so much utility, right? Because they can, like, move, shoot, move. But in doing that, you give up some of their essentially sniping damage output, because they're not really sniping as well, because the bolt carbine is... I don't want to say it's a weak weapon, but it's not a great weapon. The reason to take the bolt carbine is to get the double move, not for its damage output, right? Good evening, Trivial Pursuit. How are you? Have any of you guys been watching anything from LVO? Anyone excited about the Kroot reveal? Anyone going to be getting a bunch of Kroot to enhance their Tau? I thought the Kroot looked pretty cool, to be honest. I've never been a Tau player, so but maybe it'll make Tau less one-dimensional. I thought that sounded like it might be good for Tau players. Dadversary, I've been using Vanguard Spear to help the jump packs being so squishy. Oh, Vanguard, so they're -1. We got loads of people watching on Twitch tonight. Hello, Twitch. I don't know why, we normally don't get that many people watching on Twitch, but hello, good evening. I think the rumor is that there's going to be a New Balance data slate coming out this week. I think it's apparently on Tuesday. It's either probably going to be Tuesday or Thursday. And once we get the New Balance data slate, I'm probably going to make at least one video talking about like the best Blood Angels list you can make for like 1,000 points for various detachments using the New Balance data slate. Because a lot of people will be asking that, like, you know, what's going to be good for Blood Angels with the New Balance data slate? What's the best 1,000 point list to get started in those detachments? So I want to make those videos. I also want to make the video to finish the tier list series, because we got one video left to make in the tier list series, which is the vehicle tier list. So I've got that to make, and hopefully on Monday night this week. Where the hell did I put it? I put it down here. On Monday night this week, this right here, let me show you this. I don't know if you've been keeping up with all the drama, but there's loads of drama going on right now because on eBay, people are selling those Black Library books for like £300-400. You know the new Black Library book that came out, The End in the Death? There's loads of drama going on about it, right? So what I have here, all wrapped up nicely, is a Black Library limited edition book, number 2498 of 2500, so 2 from the end. So on Monday night, I'm going to be putting up a video on Monday. The video is kind of finished and it's edited, but I forgot to say in the video, because I've never done this before, that you would need to go into the video description for the link. But what I'm doing is, rather than trying to make $300 on eBay with the book, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a raffle where 100% of the proceeds, like 100%, so I get nothing, I actually have to pay, to send this to whoever wins, anywhere in the world, internationally. And I'm also doing here's a Cellophane Dante. This was donated to the channel by Smithy. Smithy, if you're watching just now or on a replay, you're a superstar. So I'm gonna do a raffle. It's like totally kosher through like one of the online raffle sites, where I've agreed that I'll send both those prizes internationally. Like, I'll pay for that myself, and then 100% of the money that we raise will go to a children's charity. Basically, long story short, my son wasn't too well when he was born. Let's just leave it at that. And he was in intensive like ICU for like 17 days. So the charity that helped me and my wife, I'm gonna give 100% of the money from those two, from the prizes, to that charity. So I just felt like it was a nice, like, you know, in the moment everybody's trying to make a buck on those Black Library books, so I was like, somebody who didn't get one of them can get it for literally $1, because it's going to be a raffle. So hopefully it goes to somebody that needs it, or somebody that wants it, or somebody that got screwed trying to get it, because yeah, we'll be doing that. Hopefully that video is going to come out on Monday. I literally filmed the whole thing, but because I've never done this before, I didn't say in the video where, like, all I need to do is like film another 10 seconds that says the link to the raffle will be in the video description. Like, I just need to say that and re-edit the video, because it was only until like after it, like, I made the video and rendered it all out, and then I was like, shit, I didn't tell anyone where the tickets are for sale. What's the charity? It's called the Archie Foundation, and it's a charity for, I don't exactly know everything that they do, but they helped me and my wife out when Michael was like in intensive care for like 17 days. So it's just like a local children's charity. They helped us a lot. I want to give back, and I think that's a good way to do it. And I think hopefully we'll make more than like the $300 that people are scalping these books on for eBay. But you know what? If we don't, the charity will still, you know, I'm sure the money will be useful regardless. So yeah, I've got that. I'm gonna have that coming out on Monday night, hopefully. Freezy needs Sangre Guard buffs. I don't think you'll see buffs in the balanced data slate. I would be very surprised if Sangre Guard do not get a points drop, though. They're 175 for 5 at the moment. Nobody uses them. Everybody thinks the Death Company are better at 130. I can't see them dropping Sangre Guard below 130. Like, I don't think they'll do that. But, maybe. Archie.org. Yeah, I believe that's the one. I can check. Have I just lost internet? Or is my computer just going slow? Yeah, Archie.org is the website. Oh, let me put the chat on the screen. Sorry. There's a chat. Boom. So yeah, they do loads of stuff. And, you know, they don't charge a penny for parents that were in our situation. So, it's good. I might do ones for other charities in the future. There was a charity here in the UK that helped a lot with, like, helped me a lot before. Because I don't know if you guys, I've probably mentioned it at some point. My dad actually had cancer and he passed away, like, that was kind of the reason I took a break from 40k, actually, is because, like, I didn't really feel like being sociable for, like, 5 years after my dad passed away. Different people deal with different things. My way of dealing with it was very much to become, like, reclusive and not talk to anybody and just be by myself. So that was one of the reasons that I quit 40k, was basically because my dad used to drive me everywhere I went. Like, I didn't have a car, so it was always my dad. So I quit 40k possibly because I didn't want to see anyone, but possibly also because my ride to all the 40k events and stuff disappeared. So I might do another charity thing in the future. Let's see how this one does. I think it's a cool thing, and I'm in a unique position to help. And also, if it means that basically we can say F you, like I can buy a book for £40 and say F you to the scalpers, then that's probably reason enough to do it alone, right? Because those scalpers they're profiting madly on every book at the moment. It's kind of disgusting, and it's really screwing over legitimate people. You know, like, if you miss that book and you're a legitimate player, can you, in this day and age, can you afford to pay £300 for a book to complete your collection? That seems ridiculous. I really think games... I mean, everybody's made videos on that this last couple of weeks, right? Valrak, everybody. James is trying new Terminators on Monday. Cool. I think we will get a points drop in a very... I think we will get some very slight points drops in this data slate. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there will be no points drops. It just seems like Sangre Guard, no one's playing them. And they're like most iconic unit, and if no one's playing them and they're most iconic unit, you would think that they would be okay for a points drop. I think most Blood Angels players have 10 or 20 Sangre Guard kicking around, right? And like, you're just not seeing, like, there's not even a slight reason to include them in army lists at the moment. I'm amazed. This... I'm sorry, I should have clarified, Sean. This isn't a copy of End of the Death. This is another book that I've got a duplicate of. But I have heard horrific stories about End in the Death being bought up by bots and stuff like that. I don't really know. Like, I think the rumor mill gets a bit wild, but yeah, I don't know. I heard that in Australia, bots bought every single copy, but I don't know if that's possible. Zacharias says, I have a tournament coming up on the... February 24th, just at a local shop. However, I'm considering using the Vanguard Spearhead and relying Blade Guard and Vanguard Vets with Sanguinary Priest to do some heavy lifting. The issue I have with Vanguard is that there's no strat that's going to boost your damage output on your melee units. So when I see that, it makes me really feel like I need to run a chaplain or something with my melee units so that I have +1 to wound or something. Because like I ran Blade Guard this week. I don't know if you saw the game, Zacharis, but this week I played against Chaos Knights. And if you are running you're running into Chaos Knights with Blade Guard really struggle, right? Like you're only wounding on 6s without any sort of buff. And if your Blade Guard are only wounding on 6s, then trust me, they don't do very much damage. Are you okay with posting me on 1k list here with a paste bin? Yeah, what are you wanting to do with it though? You want me to look at it? Probably the best place to post it, Freezy, would be to join our Discord. Because you can post it and it'll be sticky there and other people will see it and respond to it. If you just post it in the live chat right now, I mean, maybe someone will look at it, but I feel like you're probably going to get a better response if you put it in the Discord. If you put it in the Discord and you tag me, like, you know, do / Blood Angels Commander, I can't promise you I'll look at it tonight, but I definitely look at it for you tomorrow or at some point. You know, like I do try and read all the messages that I'm tagged in and stuff. Maybe don't always respond to every one, but I do try and read them all. Do you think GW will do a refresh on the Chaplain with the jump pack? I think GW will refresh everything that's not Primaris. So if it's like, that's why I haven't bought any more Firstborn models. That scared the crap out of me. I think that was a push notification. It sounded like a lightsaber. Holy crap. Oh. I'm gonna say my daughter will have been playing a video game on my phone or something. Wow. Wasn't expecting that. Yeah, so that, like, I really like the Vindicator tank. I would honestly be tempted to run 3 Vindicator tanks. And I really like Centurion Devastators. I'd honestly be tempted to run 3 squads of Centurion Devastators, but like, I only got 1 Centurion Devastators and 2 Vindicators, and I'm not buying any more. Because I just don't know what the lifespan is on Firstborn models these days. Like, how long... I think when 11th edition comes out, which I assume will be... what's this, 2024? So 2.5 years from now? So I assume in 2026, when 11th edition comes out, I want to say, I imagine there's going to be very, very little Firstborn stuff left in the Space Marine Codex. So any Firstborn stuff you buy today, I feel like it's going to have a shelf life of 2 years. If you're alright with that, go ahead and buy loads of Firstborn stuff. If you're not alright with that, then I guess just be a little bit wary. Primaris Centurions. Those Primaris Centurions would be as big as Dreadnoughts, dude. Do you know anywhere that still has Vindicators in stock? I actually don't know where has them in stock. Have you considered you could also buy... there's a Forge World Vindicator as well, right? Forge World will probably have their version in stock. I feel like usually the Forge World stuff doesn't sell out because it's a bit more expensive. You think vehicles are somewhat safe? I mean, I was gonna say, I guess go ahead and or I don't know. I think like, are rhinos safe? Are razorbacks safe? There's like 4 variants of predators. Are they all safe? It's a. I don't know, man. I don't know if I feel as confident about you as saying vehicles are safe. You can get a 30k Vindicator. I actually play with 30k Vindicator at the moment, because I bought the 30k Vindicator, the Forge World one, probably about this time last year, and I finished it like maybe a month or something before 10th edition came out, and then they obviously made it Legends at the start of 10th edition, so I've just been lazy and said, or maybe not lazy, but just sort of said to myself, well, I spent time and money finishing that model, I'm going to get some use out of it. So I've just been using my Vindicator Laser Destroyer, actually. I've just been clarifying if I've gone to an event or anything, just telling my opponent, like, hey, this is a laser destroyer, you know? No one's had any problems with it. Cernid says, anything on the Rhino chassis, I'd be buying the Horus Heresy. I mean, the Horus Heresy version looks cooler, that's for sure. Whether or not the Horus Heresy version manages to escape any sort of Primaris culling or culling of the Firstborn is, I guess, like a whole other question, right? Good evening, Mike. How are you? Campbell says, I think Whirlwinds, Predators and Rhinos are fairly safe. Maybe the Vindicator too. Who knows, man? Who knows? All I'm saying is just don't rush out and buy shed loads of Firstborn stuff, because it's a tough cookie to take when half, like, I made a video last summer where I was feeling super proud of my army. Like, I lined it all up on the table. I'm sure you've probably seen it, the channel trailer. And I had a giant amount of stuff. Like, probably over 10,000 points of stuff, or maybe that's an exaggeration, maybe like 8,500, something like that. And I was feeling super proud of it, and it was all painted to the same standard, and it was all my version of Battle Ready or whatever. And then, like, within like a month of making that video, all the Forge World stuff disappeared. So that was like 2,000 points lost. And then like a month later, all my bikes and assault squads and all that kind of good stuff disappeared as well. And then it was like, wow, I just lost like half my army. So I mean, it's hard to just not be affected by that. Mario says, I'm surprised you didn't quit. I think I think, and I mean, I've spoke to Tony and Mark about this, I think it left a really sour taste in a lot of people's mouth and really diminished their excitement for 10th edition. Like, a lot of people that were very excited for 10th edition lost a lot of their excitement. I don't know if it really diminished my... Like, I was always going to be playing 10th edition anyway. But I can totally see where people are coming from. Like, some people... Like, if you'd spent all your time... You know, like, if... Because Forge World were speciality units. So if you'd built, like, an army around some speciality Forge World units, like Leviathan Dreadnoughts or something, and just had, like... You know, I'm complaining I lost half. People could have lost more than half, or people could have lost, like, whole army lists. So if that had happened to you, I can imagine that would have been really soul-destroying. But yeah, I just don't want ever to have to go through that again. So I feel like I'm just gonna... I already own most of the Primaris stuff. So I'll probably spend most of my time, like, painting and doing Primaris stuff. I'll only do Firstborn stuff if my Primaris stuff is all finished, I guess, probably. Something like that. Martin says, I lost so much money in losing all the cull, I'm still not over it. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, it definitely... It really upset a bunch of people. And I really don't buy it. Like, you know, like, if you go and look at the Legacy, or whatever you would call it, the Legacy rules. Is that what they're called? Legends rules, sorry. If you go and look at the Legends rules for, like, Leviathan Dreadnought, honestly, the Leviathan Dreadnought is very, very similar to the Redemptor Dreadnought. So they should have just made them the same. They should have done what they did with the new Terminators and just said, right, we're not doing individual rules for Leviathans anymore. You know, look, if you want to use your Leviathans, cool, but we'll just use the rules for Redemptor Dreadnoughts and sort of treat them as the same thing. I think that would have been so much better received. So, like, same as, like, Contemptor Dreadnoughts, right? Because Contemptor Dreadnoughts are just flat out gone. They could have just made one sort of, like, generic Contemptor Dreadnought profile that catched all, that covered everybody, and just been like, yeah, you know, if you're desperate to use a Contemptor Dreadnought, you can still do it. Then I could paint my Star Wars Legion. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could paint my Star Wars Legion at some point. I have a lot of other games, a lot of other models for a lot of other games that literally don't get any time on my painting table. Maybe they would have got some time on my painting table if I hadn't lost half my 40k army this year. Maybe a long way in the future. So what's everyone painting tonight? How are you guys doing? Good evening, Witness. Did you keep your models that went to Legends? Yeah, I kept them all. I put a couple of them like away in drawers that I'm very unlikely to go into, like to make a bit more space for like active projects. But you know, the time and the effort is. I'm probably more upset about the time and the effort than the money, right? Because it's like the money was gone. And I mean, technically the money could be recoverable because you could sell your models. So the money doesn't, you know, the money was spent, you know, like years ago on some of those models. It's the time and effort that was the difficult part to swallow, or the difficult thing to get over, I guess. Alright. Shane's painting orcs tonight. Evening, Shane. Kind of ironic that you paint more Games Workshop models than other company games as a result of GW rule changes. Yeah, but I mean 40k is my main game, right? Like any of the other games I play are like side games, I guess. .40k has been my main game for way too for way too long, for so many years. If I ever have no job, then I'll play more than 40k, I guess. So there's your £6 Calidus Assassin from eBay. I don't know if the weather's good enough for me to spray this chick right now, because it's like been snowing all week here in Scotland. But maybe I'll try and spray her tomorrow. This is a 3D print though. Can't decide if that's a little bit of a mold line or if it's a bit of the model there actually. I think it's a... She's got like a couple of spikes elsewhere, so maybe it's fine. She's got a very Predator style head actually. Alright, well we got a Calidus Assassin now, cool. I had a prize-winning Legion of the Damned army that I cannot use now because of rule changes. Yeah, that's tough to swallow as well, isn't it? Okay guys, I'm going to be back in just 2 seconds and see if my daughter's finally asleep. I'll be back in just 2 seconds. Why did I have kids? Who said it was a good idea? James says you coat by hand if the weather isn't agreeable. I tend to just put my spray can somewhere warm, like on top of a switched off radiator that's reasonably warm, and then just go and spray, and usually it's fine. Good evening, Reziel, how are you? There's a massively important game going on at LVO, is there? More important than my stream? I doubt it, but okay. I'll let you off. It's only the most important tournament of the year. How are you? How come you're not at LVO, Reziel? What the hell? You're in America. Like, I feel like if you're in the same country, man, you should just jump in your car. It's not that long a drive, is it? I know America's big and all. What army is Stephen playing? Just walk there? Yeah, just walk there. Come on. In all seriousness, how long would it take? Because I'm trying to think, like, to walk from north of Scotland to south of Scotland, I bet you could do that in like 10 days. How many days would it take to drive from one, not to drive, sorry, to walk from one side of America to the other? Like, how many miles is it? Assuming you can walk, like, you could walk like 50 miles a day, right? Average walking speed's like 3 miles an hour. So if you walked for like 15 hours a day, you could walk like 45 miles a day. Yeah, I feel like Scotland's probably only like 600 miles north to south. So like, that's what I'm saying, you can do that in like 10 days. What is the, how many miles east to west is America? New York City to Vegas is 2,600 miles. Okay. So it'd only take you like 2 months to walk there. So even if you're in New York City, Reziel, then you know, if it's only going to take you 2 months to walk there, what's the excuse? I know you got 3 kids, so I know what it's like. People are always inviting me to tournaments like hundreds of miles away, and I was like, you guys realize I have like super young kids that are like super demanding, and my wife doesn't get a break all week because all week I work on my day job, and then usually on weeknights I work on YouTube, so she definitely needs her break at the weekend, I'll tell you that. 15 to 20 miles a day. I've walked 26 miles a day before, and I've walked a marathon in a day before, Speargrass, and I think I did that in like maybe 8.5 hours. And I don't even really train that much. I mean, I trained a little bit before I knew I was going to be doing a marathon. Again, it was like a charity thing I did. Sorry, what army is Stephen doing? Gladius Black Templars. Oh, the meta chasing. Oh, God, the meta chasing. Black Templars are good, I guess. How many impulsors? 3? Or is it like big blocks of sword brethren with 5 up feel no pains and nonsense like that? I actually don't know what the meta Black Templars lists look like, but I know Black Templars got a lot of tools that are very good. Oh yeah, Steven's a bit like me, I guess. Steven will build his own meta. I like that. I think that's cool. I think it's like, as much as it's nice to just copy what everybody else is doing or what everybody else deems strong, I think there's a bit of fun in figuring out what's strong for yourself, or figuring out your combo for yourself. That's probably why I don't run meta lists. Because like one of the things that I liked the most about the previous edition was like building your list and building what was strong. I don't mind telling people what I think is strong and sharing what I'm doing, but I don't typically copy too many things. It's probably why I never run the 3 Sanguinary Guard, 3 Death Company list last edition, because that was like the, what was it, 3 Sanguinary Guard, 3 Death Company, 2 Assault Squads. That was like the big meta list, right? With I think that was what Jack won LVO last year with, was it? Or was it the year before that? Was it last year? Was it that short ago? Oh, I don't remember. Was it last year Blood Angels won LVO? It take 40 days, says Shane. Okay. Campbell's working on Van Vet tonight. I was kind of expecting Primaris Van Vets before too long. I'd actually thought we might even see them with you know, like the Leviathan box was very much like a First Company style. It was kind of like a First Company style box, right? Because it was like Terminators and Sternguard and, you know, sort of typical veterans that you might see in an army list. So I thought we might see Primaris Van Vets, but you know, maybe they're still to come. Maybe it's I mean, everything will go Primaris eventually, right? Greg says it would take 2 days to drive to LVO. Probably about the same amount of time it would take me to get there, Greg, because if I want to go to LVO, I would have to drive to the nearest airport, then I'd probably have to take a flight to London or somewhere like a big airport like London, Amsterdam, Paris or something, so I'd have to take a flight to there first. And then I'd probably have to wait there for like a changeover for a bunch of hours, and then yeah, so I think if I wanted to do LVO, I think it would be a similar sort of 2-day trip. I think I do want to do it at some point. Just be a case of wait until the kids are older and wait until I've money, I guess. Must cost like 3,000-4,000 by the time you put the flights in, stay in a decent hotel for a few weeks. Reziel just picked up 15 more heavy intercessors. How many are you running in your list then? Like you needed 15 more? How many are you running? Somebody did say in chat the other night, they were right, like you could run for 1,050 points, right? Because they cost 105 points. So someone said in chat, for 1,050 points, you could run 50 heavy intercessors. And when you put it like that, I was like, wow. 50 heavy intercessors would be like a lot of OC and a lot of obnoxious, like an obnoxious amount of stuff to have to kill on objectives to take the objectives. I felt like. But yeah, I obviously do not have enough heavy intercessors to run 50 of them. Cool though. And that's the sort of outside the box thinking that you have to have, right? Like you run 50 heavy intercessors, your opponent's going to be like, holy crap, that's a lot of T6 Gravis Marines to chew through. How am I doing that? It would be the Space Marine equivalent to Mass Guard, yeah, it would be. And I mean, you would get 100, what are they, strength 5 -1 rifle shots from the heavies? So it's not an insignificant amount of firepower either. It'd be very good with the Librarian Dreadnought to teleport them all around, wouldn't it? Tom says, what's everyone's thoughts on 10th so far? I'm disappointed with melee combat and the rules around melee combat in 10th edition. I think the overall rule set of the game is pretty good. I would say the mission pack for 10th edition has been better than it was in previous editions. It feels more balanced. But I feel like as an army that was very much melee focused, there's just shooting is just stronger at the moment, even for an army like ours that was very melee focused. And I don't think that's a good, like, I think Warhammer maybe goes from like some editions where melee is really good to another edition where like shooting's really good, and I think we're in an edition where shooting is king. And if you can field shooting armies, it's going to be easier. I wouldn't always say that they're going to be stronger, right? Because stronger is very like subjective. But I think easier is my point, right? Like, for example, Blood Angels or Gladius detachment, I can teleport a squad of 6 aggressors right like near your guys, and I can guarantee that I'm gonna make, I don't know, like 50 hits on you. Like, I can guarantee that when I teleport. If I make a successful teleport, you know, because of Oath of Moment and stuff like that, I will guarantee like 50 hits on you. Whereas like if I make a successful teleport and then I wanted to do a charge, 50% of the time that charge fails and I do no damage. And most, you know, in some of these situations, the shooting unit is doing just as much damage. So the shooting unit is doing just as much damage with a 0% failure rate, which means the melee army is super difficult to play. And also, melee armies lost a lot of the utility that they had, right? Like, you used to be able to like do fancy stuff with consolidations, and you used to be able to pile in, if you know, and all these sort of side rules that were, I don't know what you would call them, like simplified out. So 10th edition is fine overall. It's good. I think it favors shooting too much, and I would like to see that fixed. Whether or not that gets fixed is unknown at this point, because 10th edition's been out almost a year. And don't get me wrong, some armies are fine at melee. Like, World Eaters don't have a problem doing melee whatsoever, I feel like. Just some armies don't do melee all that well anymore, and I think Blood Angels fall into that. But hey, we might get some balance changes this week. We might get some points updates. Might make things a lot nicer. Hard to say, who knows? Tom says he's finding 10th weirdly cruel with model loss. I think I know what you're referring to. I think you're literally talking about toughness 4 Marines. And I think that is something that 10th edition has highlighted, is like toughness 4 Marines die very, very, very quick. Like so quick, toughness 4 Marines. Like, the last list I just took this tournament, this Blood Angels list, was like, I only had 10 toughness 4 Marines in my list. All the other guys were Gravis armor. So they have an extra wound and they have an extra 2 toughness. And there is a big difference. Like, when, you know, like heavy bolters into a regular Marine, they wound on 3s, Into Gravis Marines, they wound on 5s. Plus, every failed save on a regular Marine as a dead Marine on Gravis is every 2 failed saves. So there is something to be said where, like, toughness 4 Marines, yeah, I don't feel that many toughness 4 Marines, but I do get what you're saying. They die so fast, man. I think if you have like a bunch of armor and stuff in your list, you probably wouldn't feel that coolness the same way. Would that be fair to say? World Eaters don't have a problem with melee because that's 200% of what they have. World Eaters also have crazy good profiles in all their melee, right? Like, even their Berserkers are just eating things alive. And then they've got Angron with his D6 plus 2, like, 9 attacks. Hitting on 2s, and Angron also can move an obscene... Like, Angron can get, like, a 25-inch move or something. It's ridiculous, because he can get... I think he's got a 14-inch move, plus a D6 charge, plus he can get, like, the World Eater buff that gives extra charge range. So Angron can make it, like... You could be 36 inches away from Angron and you get charged that turn. Like, his movement is insane. Kim says, glad to see you running the Redeemer. Yeah, I ran it this one time, Kim. I feel like I'm definitely going to probably run it again, but yeah, Chaos Knights are like a really rough matchup for Marines. I've lost to them twice now in recent weeks. And, you know, when you... Chaos Knights remind me of like when I used to play Sisters of Battle in previous editions. When you are an army with no invulnerable saves, and I think it's fair enough to say that my Gladius list has no invulnerable saves, because I have one chaplain that has a 4-up invuln and I have one captain that has a 4-up invuln. So, you know, like out of the 1800 other points, I have no invulnerable saves. So if you're an army that has no invuln saves and you run into these armies with like tons of -5 Melta and stuff, I feel like it's just going to be a tough game regardless of what you do. You're praying to God, because his Melta's hit on 2s, of course. You're praying to God he rolls some double 1s. And also his Melta strength 12, Melta 4, it's AP 5 as well. Scott says it's brutal. Yeah, it's absolutely brutal. And here's the thing, both games against Chaos Knights I lost by like less than 5 points. So it isn't the end of the world. It's brutal, but it, you know, in both those games they had that stupid Demon Prince of Slaanesh that came back to life as well when I killed them. I bet you if they hadn't come back to life both games, I could have probably won one of those games as well. God, we need the Sanguinor to be like a toughness 6 monster who comes back to life on a 2+. That's what Blood Angels need. But yeah, it's to me it seems a bit strange that Games Workshop made that big song and dance about like, hey, we're reducing lethality and we're getting rid of all those like crazy high AP weaponry, and they just left Chaos Knights with like -5 AP. Like, alright, cool. And I think it actually creates like a bit of a swing in places, right? Because like if they play against, I know Drukhari are in a bad place, but let's use Drukhari as an example. If they play against Drukhari, then at least every single transport that Drukhari have has like an invulnerable save against it. Whereas if they play against Marines, it's like, oh, even my Land Raider doesn't, -5. Like a Land Raider should have a 5-up invuln, surely. It's 260 points, how can it not have a 5-up invuln? Like the Votann Land Fortress, which is basically the same thing. I think the Votann Fortress has a 4-up invuln, right? Like I don't get why a Land Raider doesn't get some form of invulnerable save. I think it should have one. The Achilles used to have, a 4-up invulnerable save. You also used to get the Proteus with a 5-up invulnerable save. The Proteus basically had the exact same loadout as the default Land Raider, didn't it? It had the double las cannon on each sponson, and is it the twin heavy bolter? So yeah, you could just pay like 15 extra points for a Proteus and have a 5-up invuln. I mean, if they gave people the option to pay 15 more points on their 260 point Land Raider or 240 point Land Raider to have a 5-up invuln, I think most people would pay it. I don't necessarily agree with those vehicles not having an invuln. I think it's a bit silly. There are too many points to not have one. I'm sure at some point the Achilles, maybe it was 8th edition. Did Achilles have a 4-up in 8th edition? I'm sure it had a 4-up invuln at one point. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I think I want the thing that if I was gonna run out and buy a bunch of firstborn stuff, the thing that I thought that sounded the most fun after looking at the Land Raider Redeemer this week was definitely like multiple Redeemers with multiple Battle Predators and multiple Thunderstrikes. I think that could just be a hella fun list. I don't know how competitive it is, but I feel like it could be very fun. I feel like it could be somewhat competitive. Hey Trucker, good evening, how are you, dude? Excuse me. There's a firestorm brewing yet? I mean, there is. Does anyone run Firestorm? Does anyone think it's cool? You could even run aggressors with just regular flamers inside the Land Raiders, right? Because even the flamers can get like dev wounds. I was gonna say 6 aggressors with flamers. With twin link flamers, actually. That might be the best way to get a shed ton of dev wounds. But mind you, they're only 1 damage. I guess that's the advantage of the Ball Predator or the Redeemer, is all the flamers are 2 damage, right? Scott says he will be running it this week, rather than Ironstorm. How have you got on with Ironstorm so far? Like, I was going to say Ironstorm in the sense that your list still resembles something of a Blood Angels list. Because, I mean, you could still run like a squad of Death Company with a Chaplain in Ironstorm. Be somewhat... I was going to say to be somewhat... I was going to say it'd be like 30 shots, I think. Because each flamer would get D6. Which realistically isn't as much as you think it might be. Won all 3 games, World Beaters, Death Guard and Black Templars. Howdy Frank, how are you? What's your MVP unit inside your Ironstorm lists? I assume there's like one unit that you feel like you wouldn't drop and you'd run every single time you play Ironstorm, is there? I mean, the only reason I haven't run Ironstorm yet is I was like, it's a little too mechanical for my Blood Angels. I mean, that seems like a strange hill to die on when I already run Gladius all the time, and Gladius is a little bit too shooting for my Blood Angels, but... I mean, I play Gladius week on week, right? Even if it is a bit more shooting than typically what I would run as Blood Angels. How do I feel about Games Workshop taking over the ITC? I guess if you're involved in ITC events, it will mean that you will have to have official Games Workshop models, right? It's probably a good thing in terms of like for the rankings and in terms of them like being able to balance the game or get data to balance the game. So I think it's probably a good thing in those senses, but I suppose there's the danger that Games Workshop are lax on it and then it sort of falls apart a bit. I'm not too sure, Tom. How do you feel about it? Are you happy with it? How does anyone else feel about GW taking over the ITC? If you didn't read the article, it basically means they basically said not too much will change, but in the future, I guess they will have like a Games Workshop employee at the top of the ITC, trying to make it easier for people to run events, trying to make it easier for them to do tournament packs, things like that, right? Like that was the gist of the article. Ammo says GW barely know their own rules. Ouch. MVP for Ironstorm has been the Vindicators with lethal rounds, sustained 1s and 5s. Yeah, I mean, Vindicator tanks are really good. Vindicator tanks have been my MVP in Gladius a bunch of times. So I can imagine that they would be MVP in Ironstorm probably just as, if not more often, right? That makes sense. I just wanted to know what you thought. Appreciate that. Diversary says Terminators can take heavy flamers as well as the Fury Dread and Death Company Dread. You know, I do like the double flamer, heavy flamer on the Death Company Dread. I think that's good. Who runs Star Wars? Is that not Fantasy Flight Games? I've never been to a Star Wars tournament though. Scott says Firestorm Aggressors with strats 66 plus 1. What gives them plus 1? Strength 5, AP 1, 1 dev wounds, go fishing, and wounds on 5s and 4s for most. You've also got close enough to charge. True. What's giving the aggressors the plus 1 shot though? I just don't think I have enough CP Rezio to run the aggressors inside the Land Raider. Because I never have any CP in my games. I'm always CP starved. And the aggressors, if they're not in Devastator Doctrine, then they don't do jack. Yeah, they don't do jack out with Devastator Doctrine, honestly. I think they honestly need 2 CP spent on them every turn to be good. I mean, I've run them in, I don't know, probably 15 games now. Flamestar Gauntlets are D6 plus 1, are they? Okay. Sorry, I thought they were just D6. I mean, like, if you were a Dark Angels player, and you were getting Azrael to give you 1 CP a turn, then probably you don't need the captain. But yeah, I feel like there's very few times in 10th edition where I have CP. Like, I always feel like I need CP. Even this week where we had the we were playing on the map where it was like on a 4-up, you just get an extra CP. So arguably the most CP I've pretty much ever had playing 40k or 10th edition or 40k, and still felt like I had no CP or not enough CP. But then I guess when you're playing Chaos Knights, you want to be smoke screening stuff all the time because their melter's ridiculous. If I had more CP, I would have probably smoke screened and Armor of Contempted to try and keep some of my vehicles alive, but I never had enough CP to do that. Back in 1 sec. Say anyone got any tricks for getting a 4-year-old to go to sleep? I don't know, it happens like once a week. She just decides that she's not going to go to sleep. Fun times. What did I miss? They only need CP in Firestorm. If you're running the Bolter Inceptors in Gladius, they really feel like they need 2 CP on them. Every time you want them to be effective at killing things. And even with a 2 CP spend, they're not that effective into non-Oath the Moment targets. Like, it's... to get the most out of the aggressors, it needs to be like a 2 CP spend and shooting your Oath the Moment target. It's a big investment every turn. But I've had enough experience now where like I've shot them without Oath of Moment or without the 2 CP spend, and they've just been like underwhelming, or they've not done as much as I've needed them to do, or a bit of both. But yeah, because like a couple of times in games I've tried to save CP. I've been like, oh, this unit's pretty low in health, maybe I won't spend the 2 CP on the Devastator / nonsense that you need to make the aggressors good, and then it's like, oh, now the aggressors didn't kill the thing I really needed them to kill. That was a huge mistake. And I think that's happened to me so many times now, where I'm just like, anytime you want the aggressors to do good damage, they need everything. They need Dev Doctrine, they need Storm of Fire, and they need Oath of Moment. And even then you can get tricked, because I got tricked this week by the Chaos Knights, because I declared all my targets, and then after I declared my targets, he rotated Ion Shields. so that they were on a 4-up save, and I guess that's the problem with the aggressors is like it's only 1 damage. So if they can rotate their ion shields, that actually kind of probably cost me the game this week, actually. I forgot that Chaos Knights could even rotate ion shields, honestly. I mean, I guess that's why it's good to practice against all the different factions, right? I certainly don't get much practice against Chaos Knights. I agree with you, Rezio. I think list building got a little bit too simple in 10th edition, maybe. Like, it doesn't feel like there's the same level of optimization in list building, or the same. It doesn't feel like you can be a master in list building the same you could be maybe in the last edition. You know, maybe it'll improve over time, I guess. I guess their fixed points costs are the future of 10th edition. Hopefully people just keep giving them feedback all edition that fixed points costs suck, and then they decide that maybe they're not going to do it for 11th, but I think we're stuck with it for 10th. Does anyone enjoy playing 10th over 9th? I mean, what I enjoy about 10th over 9th is if you remember in 9th edition, there were certain armies like Necrons that just had super crazy, easy to score secondary objectives. So it's like every time you play against Necrons, most of the time they were just going to score 100 points. And I mean, unless you were like killing them like relentlessly and beating them all over the board, you had to be prepared that like their secondaries were super easy for them to achieve, and they're going to score lots of points every single turn. I feel happy that that's maybe being improved a bit. So I think that's a good thing that's come out of 10th edition. And I do think some armies have got rid of the obnoxious, overpowered AP. Because, like, if you ever played Sisters of Battle in 9th edition, like, you could play Sisters of Battle and every single unit in their army could be like AP 4 and 5. Like, because they were playing Bloody Rose. They already had really good AP. They could guarantee charges with their Miracle Dice and then hit you with all this ridiculous AP. So I feel a little bit happy that maybe some of that is going as well. So I think there is good about 10th edition. I don't think you can just say, does anyone prefer it? Because there is good things. But yeah. I mean, another thing is Games Workshop are listening more than they ever listened before, right? Like monthly or bi-monthly balanced data slates. We never used to get those. You used to get your codex, and if your codex sucked, then you just have to wait the new edition for your codex to not suck. Dwayne, good evening. Anoditis, good evening, dude. How are you? Yeah, I mean, I guess at least in 10th edition you don't have to worry about all the detachment nonsense we had before, right? Where it's like, this detachment needs 2 troop units, and this detachment needs 3 scout units, or... And they might still be able to improve some of that stuff. Good evening, Phil. How you doing? I'm working on my heavy intercessors for about the millionth time. I feel like maybe I'm starting to see a little bit of light towards the end of the tunnel with them, though, so... These guys have lingered like a very, very long time for me. Hey Alan Phoenix, good evening. Yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe the thing about the Force organization as well was that was one of the parts of making a good list and having to brainstorm on and figure out ideas, right? Because even if you've thought the perfect list, sometimes you were like, balls, this doesn't fit into this detachment, right? So yeah, I think list building, I think if I had to say two things I'd like to change probably for 10th would be list building and melee combat rules. And also maybe any army that's got guns that have -5 in them, because I thought the whole point of 10th edition was to make things less lethal. You know, they toned down the mortal wounds to a place where like the mortal wounds are much more sane now. So maybe we need to tone down AP for things. Like, it makes no sense that like Power Fists and Thunderhammers lost AP, but like other armies just kept a shed load of AP. Like, why? Like, normalize the AP. Like, maybe if the best thing a unit can save on is a 2-up, then maybe the worst thing an AP should be is a -3. You know, because units that have 2-up saves are generally pretty expensive. And just taking a unit that's got a 2-up save, like that 260 point Land Raider, and just saying, well, you don't get a save because it's -5, like, I don't think that's a great... It's not a great feeling for the player that has the Land Raider, right? Like, imagine if you rock up an event, you're a new player, you get your 260 point Land Raider on the table, and in turn 1 they're just like hit you with a bunch of -5. You're like, you don't even get to roll a saving throw, it's just dead. Really don't think that's a great experience for you know, even an existing player, it's a pretty crappy experience. Worse if you're a new player though, right? Alan Phoenix finally got his desk magnifying light. How are you liking it, dude? Are you happy with it? You used it much? Yeah, they have devastating wounds. Yeah, that would be a better way to do it. Why isn't Melta like AP -3, but dev wounds? So when they do roll a 6, that there's no one's getting a save. You can't take invulnerable saves against dev wounds, right? I mean, like, my army has no invulnerable saves, that never really comes up for me, but yeah, you can't take invulnerable saves against dev wounds. That would make more sense, I think. Because I was thinking about that the other day, I was like, how do they balance las cannons -3? I don't think you want las cannons with less than -3, but maybe the way to do it would be to give those stupid Meltas dev wounds, so they still can be a real problem, but they're not a problem where every single shot is a -5. You know, it becomes 1 in 6 as a no save. I would feel much more happy about that for terms of balance. But then I'm biased because I'm a Space Marine player and we don't get invulnerable saves. Right, I've got 10 more minutes, I think, because I told my daughter that she's getting to watch TV for 10 more minutes and then she's going to bed, but I think I'm going to have to go through there and sit with her to get her to go to sleep, so... And it's coming up to 11 o'clock, yeah, and she definitely should not be up anymore. But yeah, I'm on the same page as you, Highland. That's the best idea that I've had in terms of, like, if it was up to me, how would I balance it? That's how I would balance it. That sounds way better. Like, I'm not saying Chaos Knights can't have a -5 type weapon. I'm just saying, does it have to be every single bloody shot? Because I feel like that sort of balance really screws aren't like it. You know, like if we were Votan, then we would have a 4 up against all that stuff, probably. But as Marines, you just don't get nothing. I think it's a really bad experience for Marine players, that. I suppose it comes back to that age-old thing with, like, Sanguinary Guard, where people say to you, like, oh, Sanguinary Guard have a 2-up save, they're really good. And I was like, yeah. Till you fight some sort of thing like Angron, who can be like -4 or something, and it's like all of a sudden your Sanguinary Guard are only saving on 6s and they're, what, 35 points a model or something, you're just losing them left, right and centre. Outside Gladius, a lot of Marines have AP problems. I mean, the one thing I think is really stupid, Reziel, is that the Gladius enhancements let you make a better melee weapon than the Blood Angels enhancements. You know, like, there's problems like that as well. Like, that makes no sense. So Gladius, which is the all-round detachment, actually can have better melee options than the Blood Angels detachment, which is a melee-only detachment. Or, yeah, it's like a melee-only detachment, I would say, right? So it's like, there's just, I don't know. We gotta hope. I've read some of the rules for Dark Angels. I don't know if there was a community article today. I haven't seen the one from today, but I did see the one from like Friday about the advance and charge. I don't know if I saw another one, but I guess we really gotta hope that Blood Angels get some good stuff. Gladius is probably better than all the new Dark Angels attachment as well. No, don't tell me that, Reziel. Oh, Campbell, alright. Ah, why? Yeah, I'll check my Discord DMs tomorrow for sure. My wife was working today, so I had the kids by myself all day, so I wasn't really on my phone or anything like that today. Well, if the Gladius is better than most of the Dark Angels one, that doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence for the Blood Angels detachment. Or the Blood Angels Codex. Is that how Dark Angels players are seeing it? Are they happy with it, or are they just sort of very indifferent on it? Phil says I normally pop smoke. Yeah, I mean, I get that you can pop smoke and you can Armor of Contempt. I just don't know if you should have to do that on a 260 some point Land Raider, right? Like, I think it should just have some sort of invuln built in, considering how expensive it is. For anyone that's new to the channel, tomorrow night we have our army list show. We do that every Sunday night. I have to think about that for a minute, but no, it is every Sunday night, where we look at community submitted army lists. So if you want to submit an army list for the show, you post your army list in one of the YouTube comments. So like any of my videos, you just post an army list in the comment section. I'll try and pick it up, and I'll get you on the show. Maybe you won't, like if you posted it tonight, you're probably not on tomorrow's show. You may be on the week after, because there's a little bit of a backlog of people that submit lists. I want to say at the moment the backlog's probably like 1 week or something. So if you, the thing is, if the balanced data slate comes out, then I guess the backlog will build back up, right? The Reddit pages are burning down for Dark Angels, are they? Okay. I really think they should start running some of these like detachments past their communities for the different factions, because I feel like the community members are going to know better what they feel like they need. But I guess that's not the way they do it. They just sort of release the detachments blindly or with no feedback on them, I guess. And that's what you get. They run them past some of the competitive players, I guess. I've heard like that there's a competitive playtest group or something that get to like playtest the codex a little bit before, but they don't find too much, do they, that competitive playtest group? Because remember the start of 10th edition, how broken Devastating Wounds were? Well, they obviously never found that, because Devastating Wounds from Eldar were literally breaking the entire meta. But I mean, according, like, I don't know, but I assume that the playtest group had seen the rules and got to play a little bit with the Devastating Wounds. So I don't know how that sort of slipped through as like, because the Dev Wounds on Eldar when the Codex came out, or when the indexes came out, were completely broken, right? Like, Eldar was super obnoxious. Alright, that's pretty much going to be me for tonight, guys, I think. I'm going to have to go and try and get this 2-year-old or this kiddo to bed. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow night. And then I think I'm playing Miles on Wednesday night. I don't know what army Miles is running yet, but we'll find out. I think I'll give the Redeemer another run out against Miles and then take it from there. Does everything have damage 3 in the Dark Angels Codex now? I don't know. I noticed that 5 Deathwing Knights are like 290 points. You would think they would have something damage 3, right? They seem very, very expensive. But I guess I won't really know until Wikipedia gets updated, right? And then I guess I'll check on that. Alright, we better run. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch some of you guys tomorrow night on the Army List show. The Knights lost D3 on their maces, did they? Well, and what have they got against D3 on the maces when Angron's like D6 plus 2? D6 plus 2 is super obnoxious. The Chaos Knights have that as well on their claws. And D6 plus 2 just means like dead gravis. And like if a couple get through very quickly, it's suddenly like, well, like D6 plus 2, if 3 get through, even if they roll triple ones, which they're not going to do, you're talking 9 damage. It's insanity. Lion lost -1 to wound and damage on a sweep. Alright, well maybe we'll try and do a Grotz episode on Dark Angels when the Codex is actually out, or when it's all on Wikipedia. Cool. Have a good evening, guys. Hopefully you enjoy LVO if you're watching that. If not, great. But I'll see you guys all tomorrow night. Peace. Peace, 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 peace.